Hello and welcome to UnderYZ, and in this quick video, we are going to talk about Attack on Titan Season 4 Part 2, Episode 2. Because this episode finally marks the conclusion of the trifecta of episodes that MAPPA weirdly enough adapted from the finale of Season 4 Part 1. Because these last 3 episodes, namely episodes 16, 17 and 18, complements the 4 chapters of the manga, namely chapter 115, 116, 117 and 118. And this marks the conclusion of chapter 118, and MAPPA weirdly enough jumbled all these 4 chapters together to form a different linear pattern for the overall episodes to flow in almost a sequential manner. No complaints there whatsoever, but at least we are finally done with these couple of chapters. It was kind of getting a bit too heavy to see the same chapters being adapted for 3 separate episodes. But nonetheless, this episode was absolutely amazing in my opinion. I actually do not have any major complaints whatsoever. Although unlike the previous one, this episode is not majorly focused around battle and fighting, but still I feel like the more gory elements of the manga were very well adapted by this episode without any major censorships whatsoever. I was getting a little bit worried last week to see if this episode is going to adapt the full gory content of the manga, specifically Eren's eye popping out or not. But lo and behold, it did it absolutely perfectly without any major changes from the manga whatsoever. So hello and welcome to UnderYZ, and today let's just see what this episode is all about. But before that, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to our channel, since I do weekly anime and manga related content along with a bunch of other stuff. With that being said, let's just jump into it. Now this episode begins with the prisoners getting released. Now the prisoners obviously being Armin and the gang. Now Armin's initial confrontation and how he blindly believes Eren is up for display for everyone to actually witness. And the moment when Mikasa says the truth about everything which basically happened between her and Eren in that particular table room, everyone sort of thinks that, okay Armin, maybe you are taking things a little bit too far. Eren might not be the goody two shoes that you are thinking him to be, because in fact Armin even asks if they should, showcase the true power of the rumbling so that Paradis is left alone for maybe the next 50 years or so. He in fact supports some of the plans made by Eren here in the beginning, but later on he soon realizes that maybe he is making a little bit of mistake, and here finally we get a first bit of flashback, because in the last episode we didn't actually get to see any flashbacks whatsoever. And this one is one of my absolute favorite ones, which involves Eren looking towards the sea, which is the ending of season 3 part 2. I really love that moment. It's probably one of my favorite moments from AOT period, because it just showcases a stark contrast, a change in the world of Attack on Titan, and to see that moment once again, it was incredible. It was legit incredible. But moving forward, the fight continues between Eren and Reiner. Of course, the Jaws Titan Porco is also there, but here we continue from where we left last week. That is, Eren has been almost pinned down by the Armored Titan, but here things take a stark turn, because once again Eren utilizes the powers of the Warhammer and just absolutely berates the Armored Titan. This was beautiful to watch, but more than that, it's not just about the visuals, but rather the visual flair and the overall voice acting. The voice acting literally popped off this episode. It was incredible. Eren's demonic scream, it was probably my highlight for this entire episode. It was just a chef's kiss. So glad to see the return of these kind of voice actings. I was kind of missing them in the early parts of season 4, and in fact this episode also brought back some of the classic soundtracks as well. In fact, towards the end of this episode, we got the thriller music from Attack on Titan season 4. I always tend to forget the name of that particular piece of OST, but you know what I'm trying to talk about here. That music is just amazing into my ears, so I was really happy to see that, or rather hear that. But moving forward, the goriness of the manga continues here, and I honestly thought that maybe some scenes here will get a little bit of censorship, but no, Jaws Titan is totally obliterated by Eren here. It was just amazing to watch. Moving forward, however, we get 2 sets of storyline running parallelly or running simultaneously in this episode. The first one involves the return of Commander Pixis and Shadis. Now here they have basically fallen from grace, specifically Commander Pixis, but even then he is at his absolute best. He fully admits that he went drunk and therefore he fell into the traps of the enemy. And here finally the forces of Paradis take a turn because all the prisoners are finally released from the hands of the Jaegerist. Jean just makes a really good speech here about how they should no longer stop all of this nonsense and how the main forces of Paradis should unite once again in front of the attack done by Marley. Therefore, Pixis takes over the charge and he commands everyone, specifically those who had taken the wine, to not use the ODM gear, and only the people who are fit for them should use the maneuvering kits because these are actually scarce right now. So the forces of Paradis are once again taking charge, although they are aware that this is up to no avail because this is going to be a death trap for all of them. But still, Pixis knows the risks and they are all ready for all of these things. Furthermore, Mikasa and the others are also seen getting ready with their maneuvering gears, but here we saw the return of one character whom I had honestly forgotten. I legit forgot about her existence, and she is Louise, one of those characters who simmed for Mikasa and who joined the Jaegerist faction later on. But I kind of forget her existence. But she's just there to be a part of Mikasa's scarf plotline because Mikasa finally leaves a scarf which Eren had given to her for the very first time here. Mikasa is sort of getting over her Eren phase, or is it so? I want to ask the anime only fans this question. Do you think that Mikasa is going to finally get over Eren, or what exactly may be going on here? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, while all of these things are happening, tangentially there's another plot point which is brewing here, which involves the character of Falco. Now Falco is being used here very nicely. I have my gripes over how he's handled later on in the final arc of the series, but here him and Gabi are actually improving as characters, and through Gabi and Falco we legit get to see the character development from how they initially thought that the people of this island were nothing more than devils, to now them realizing their mistake, that it was only propaganda and brainwashing which was forced upon them to showcase that okay, these people are the devil, you need to destroy them. And specifically this coming from the mouths of Gabi, it's legit good. I know that we all hate Gabi for what she did to Sasha, but at the same time they are legit kids. They have been brainwashed their entire lives, and to see her finally understanding the pain of Reiner, it was actually a legit good moment for me. But before all of this actually happens, we get a very good interaction between Falco and Nile. Now Nile used to be a really good character back in the day. Once again, I had almost forgotten about him, but then I remembered that he was a friend of none other than Erwin. So to see him also at the deathbed and to see him having a good conversation with Falco, this was legit good. He made Falco realize the mistake which they were being taught upon, which they were brainwashed with, and he's the person who actually returns Falco to Colt and Gabi. And the juxtaposition of this scene along with the family of Sasha was a brilliant touch in my opinion, and how the two thought processes were actually being utilized here. But before all of this actually happens, during the fight with Reiner and Eren, Zeke finally arrives into the scene and he just decimates everyone. He destroys the Marlin carriers and he just blows away a bunch of the enemy, but at the same time through some very clever tricks by Peak and Commander, or rather General Magath, they are able to almost take down Zeke by the usage of the anti-Titan cannon, because this was done beautifully, or rather this was executed beautifully. And that is basically the ending of this episode, with Zeke falling down from the walls and Eren, who is at a very crippled state right now, just crawling forward towards his brother. Because, and I still chuckle at this, Zeke arrives to the scene by saying that your Onisha is here, you don't have to worry anymore, Eren. Just Zeke saying Onisha, it just makes me giggle. I don't know, this is just a really funny scene. And that's basically Attack on Titan Season 4 Part 2 Episode number 2. There's some other stuff happening as well, with Armin and gang finally reaching the rooftop and them trying to help Eren when they realize that Zeke is also here, and their overall shock when they realize that since Zeke is here, Levi is probably defeated or even dead. This realization dawns upon them and they are feeling absolutely helpless here at this moment. Armin tries to cheer them up, but then we get the most hilarious and meme-worthy moment from the entirety of Attack on Titan. Now here in this episode, which adapts chapter 118, there's a panel which I was eagerly waiting for, which is Yelena being delighted at the destruction of Marley. Unfortunately for me, the anime did not do much justice to this scene. I thought that this should have been accompanied with some stellar music and some stellar soundtrack, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But that is definitely made up with this meme-worthy moment of Yelena's face and how she immediately turns into a goody two-shoe and says that, "Please help Zeke and Eren." This was legit fantastic. Props to MAPPA for adapting this spot on. So that's episode 2 of Attack on Titan season 4 part 2. So what do you guys think about all of these things? Please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. So that's it for today, guys. See you all on the next one. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button and share the video. See you all on the next one.